Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Trevor Sean Audiocast. This is your host, Trevor. Surprise. Um, but yeah, if this is the first time you guys have checked this podcast out, hope you find some value in it. This is just a space where I document my journey for building a successful, valuable life, and I talk about a lot of things along the lines of, man, I don't even know how to explain that, best practices and ideas for better work, building habits, motivation, inspiration, all that kind of stuff to help you get along better in your life and work on whatever you're working on. So this started out as a kind of a project for my kids. So I have 3 young kids: Bianca, Baron, Cosette, call her Cozy, and they are 8, 6, and 3. And so I lost my dad early, 2 years ago. He was 65, and obviously there's just like a flood of questions that kind of popped up that I wanted to ask him, and he wasn't around. So I was like, I wonder if anything were to happen. And this is kind of, when you're in your 30s and 40s and whatever, you're just kind of hitting a different stride. And so you're looking for resources that could help you get through based off their experiences and stories and stuff like that, right? So I created this to fulfill that for them should they need it. So anyway, and obviously just inviting anyone along for the ride for whoever needs this, because Lord knows I do. And this also kind of helps me just work through a lot of resources and books and things like that I'm reading and going through to kind of sort through my own life and kind of find those answers that I maybe could ask my dad, but also searching plenty of other great thinkers in the world and doers and successful people. So yeah, it's been a good project. I'm excited about it. So sorry for the longer intro today, but that's what this is for. So if that's what you're looking for, and with that little spin on it, then I hope you enjoy it and find something that's meaningful and something that you can do with it. So anyway, but yeah, welcome back. Episode 23. We're building this thing, man. So working through it. I always say every episode, like every week, I'm going to bring out a new episode, and it usually is 2 weeks. But I think I finally hacked something about that. So we'll talk about that. I'm excited to talk about that. And yeah. So for the topics today, I'm going to be running through Goal Day, July. So I know it's the 13th, but it's never too late to write down some goals and to get some things going. I have some thoughts about that, but I'll talk about it. The next topic is planning versus action, how that's a trap, the planning aspect of it. And then I have a work experiment that I'm really excited to bring up, and I've been a little pissed off about it, which I think is a good thing. Gotta use what you can to build the life you want, All right, so Goal Day. Just a reminder, write those July goals down. As I've been writing these down, I talked about the long-term goal experiment, or not experiment, but writing down your long-term goals. And I really love the idea of those, almost better than the micro goals, just because it gives you a really solid idea of what you want to aim for. I don't know what the perfect time frame is to revisit those and refine those and whatever, but if you really took some time to write those down and gave them some really good thought, it's worth really exploring and trying to understand why you wrote them down in the first place. So one thing that I think is really helpful is to read those every day. You got to read them. You don't have to touch them. You don't have to revise them or anything like that. But reading them, I think, makes a ton of sense to really help narrow your focus for what you want to do and what you want to build. And as far as these monthly goals, I don't know if they're helpful, realistic, if they're a time waster. I don't know. I'm going to talk a little. I've been thinking about it because I feel like I've been pretty, over the last 2 weeks, I've been pretty focused on time wasters versus actionable, solid results. And so I'm not sure about the monthly thing, but at the same time, give yourself 30 minutes to write down a monthly goal list that covers certain areas in your life. I don't know if that's that hard. So, and coming from me, maybe it's just time to not be a bitch and sit down for 30 minutes one day a month and like write down some. I think the reason that I really like the monthly goals is cuz those should be micro goals to help you achieve your longer term goals, your year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year, whatever, right? And so if your monthly goals aren't around your long term goals, then I think you're doing it wrong. And um, I got mine written down, but anyways, a couple things I wanted to say about that is actually the biggest lesson I've learned out of all of them, as I continue to like miss a decent amount, is simplifying them. Got to simplify and like take on less, in my opinion, because there's just, you can't schedule yourself to death, and you have to give yourself enough time and resources to spend on the projects that matter the most. I think that's important. And so if there's one thing about my goal list which I really like, is it just continues to kind of dwindle down a little bit. I remember the first one. I'll have to see if I can pull it out. It'd be kind of a funny picture. Dude, my first, I love to write and just plan and whatever. That's been, I don't know, a good thing and a bad, and definitely a terrible thing in a lot of ways. But man, I just wrote like my whole page. I think I had 2 pages for my monthly goals. And it was like nuts. I couldn't even like read through it. It was just so chaotic and crazy. It wasn't very simplified and focused. And it wasn't helpful. It was like hard to read through every day and to help. It was hard to understand what I was trying to get done. I had like all these different areas. I had something for health and reading and writing. And then underneath those things is like I had to write a certain amount in different categories, and it just got so complicated and complex. So like I even wrote some rules up here for this one that said focus on one project at a time and work extremely hard on it. And so for my work goals, I have my day job, which is smashpass.com, and so I'm the lead of sales, the head of sales for that business. And that takes up a lot of my time. I mean, that's like 8 to 9 hours a day, and I really want to help grow it and make it nice, and carve out a really solid profession for myself in that way, and I really enjoy it. And so that's one project that I'm working on, which is the biggest one. And then I have my side hustle, which I've built this brand or whatever you want to call it, called Trevor Sham. So I have a YouTube channel where I do tech tutorials and tech reviews. And so that's another side hustle. So I like to, that's the thing about that one is we'll talk about this, but I think I'm making it a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. But I'm a novice as far as video production and recording and all that kind of stuff goes. So it takes me a little bit. Plus I'm a one-man show, plus I have a family, plus I have a job and all this other shit, right? So that's one thing. And then I have this podcast, which is just one time every 2 weeks, generally speaking. Hopefully it gets up to one a week, if we're doing enough stuff to talk about. So that'd be cool. And then I have like this coaching thing that I started because I coach all my kids and I love coaching. I did that as a profession for a little while as well, where I was coaching high school football and basketball. And so I have a lot of knowledge that I like to share. And so I wanted to create this blog and this social media and kind of give my take about different types of practices and skills and development, things like that. So anyway, I had all these things. And I had like really realistically, looking back at the goal list, I had like 2 hours worth of work to do on each of these things, and not including Smash Pass, which was my main job that I had to do. And it was like crazy. It's like I wouldn't have had time to do anything. It was nuts. And I like all that stuff. I just don't think it's realistic. I don't think I give myself enough time to, you know, things come up, man. There's like lots of stuff. There's sports practices. There's got to spend time with your kids and take them on adventures and, whatever else. Got to keep the house clean and help out and blah, 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 blah. Tons of stuff. So anyways, couple rules. Got to simplify it. And you got to try to like really, as far as like projects go, in my opinion, and I have to heed the same advice. It's like you got to like really simplify it down to your top one or two side projects that you really, really want to grow. Hopefully, and this is even better if they're like related, then they can kind of help each other in a way. Because like for my Trevor Sean channel, I started my own business called Sean Media. And so the work that I do for Sean Media, it directly correlates to the work I do for Trevor Sean, because this is all tech-based, and it's website setup, and it's using third-party tools, and using social media tools and other type of tech stuff, like setting up Microsoft Office 365 and Google, if that's what they want to do. So it's all directly related to that channel, which is cool because I'm kind of doing the same thing both ways. One of them, I'm just doing work for a client, versus the other one, I'm doing tutorials showing people how to use it if they want to do it on their own. So it's related, but anyway, simplify it. That's the main thing. The other thing that I thought was really important is set the goal so that you can achieve it. I think Jordan Peterson talks about this a lot, and he said that you have to set the bar low enough to achieve things, because if you just keep setting this ginormous, crazy goal and you never reach it, it's very depressing and disheartening, and then maybe you give up on it, and that's not a good thing. That's one of the other reasons I actually decided to do like these long-term goals, because it really gave me some clarity of like, okay, if I do these things and I can achieve these on a daily, monthly basis, whatever, then I will get there. I don't have to worry about the big goal. It'll come as long as I'm taking care of these small ones. And then try to create habits around these goals that you're trying to do, because then they get easier. You don't have to decide to do things. You just do them because you've built the habit, and you're putting yourself in positions to take care of it. So anyways, little reminder of my monthly goal. I think, based off just talking through it right now, I think we should keep the monthly goal list, but it has to be simple, man. It has to be simple, not a ton of categories, and really try to focus on what you want to do. And set it up so you can do it. Set up your day to make those things happen. Like my categories that I have, I forgot to do a financial one, but that kind of, I don't know. I got health. I got like mindset, which deals with reading and writing. And then I have my projects. So then I have one for Smash Pass, and then I have one for Trevor Sean. And that's it. That's all I got this time. Like I said before, you'll have to see. I'll have to show that one sometime. It's nuts. But that's why it's good to keep evaluating it and working through it. I just needed that time to do it. So good for me. Yeah. And I did have like one other note. It's like don't ever underestimate the power of a small goal and achieving that small goal. I remember when I first started working out. I mean, I've always been a pretty athletic person. I love sports and played them when I was young and everything. And I played high school sports, really into it. And then, things happen and you let go for whatever reason. But like getting back into it during 2020, a year ago, a year and a couple months. That first workout was, if I could go back and watch myself, it was probably like dog shit. It was like just getting through, I was actually thinking about this today because my workout today was pretty grueling. And I was thinking back when I first started out again, I was like, dude, there's no way I'd be able to do this workout. It would like kill me. I wouldn't do it. And now I've been working out consistently for over a year, and I feel so much better. All of my exercises and sets and reps are up, and I just feel so much better. And it all started with me going down into my basement and swinging a kettlebell for 3 times 15, you know? I mean, I honestly feel like that was one of my first workouts where I just got down there and like, hey, just do this. And that's all you have to do. And then I did that for, 4 or 5 days. And then after that, I was like, okay, well, that's boring. It doesn't even, it doesn't even work me out anymore. Now I can go up to 3 times 20. And then I did a couple where I said, all right, just get to 100 as fast as you can. And, you start playing the game and getting better at it, and it's cool. So don't underestimate the small thing. It can grow and really blossom into something awesome. All right, taking to the next topic, which really pissed me off, man. It's like, as you can probably tell based off what I just told you about my goals, I am like this planning machine. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. I love the idea of writing down ideas and thoughts, and I think a lot of people are like that. I think it's good. I think there's great benefits to that. However, that's the easy shit, man. That's the easy stuff, and I actually had this all written down. This is what I had written down. Plans, preparedness, research, learning, all great things. Those are great things to do. Thinking, contemplating, overanalyzing, overthinking, waiting. Fuck that shit, dude. Like, I think I'm just so fed up with these plans and these ideas and like, oh, dude, that would be so cool. I can't wait till this happens, and I should write down how it's gonna feel when it happens, and blah 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 blah. That's honestly what goes through my head. And then I just kind of got to this point where it just kept recurring, and maybe it's a good benefit from this podcast because I feel like I keep talking about these ideas, and it's good. I think they're good. You got to be able to go research and like dive into some stuff and get some ideas and thoughts and learn from other people's experiences and kind of have an idea of what direction to go to and all that kind of stuff. I think that's all great, for real. I'm not discouraging that at all. I think that has helped me so much get to this place. And I think it's a good thing because once you get to this place where I feel like I'm at now, it's like, okay, well, I feel like I've done plenty of research and learning about, whatever topic, getting your head right and understanding work and getting into your flow and managing your time, blah, 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 starting a business, doing all that kind of stuff, right? Talking to people, sales, project management, whatever your profession is. There's just so many resources out there that you can like find to learn more about. And that's all great stuff. Unless you're able to take that information and apply it, it just doesn't mean shit. And I think that's the kind of the place where I keep writing these monthly goals down and I have these long-term goals. And then all of a sudden I'm like looking at my daily actions and I keep looking at these monthly goals and I'm trying to achieve and they're not quite getting there. And the other day I was working on Smash Pass and I just like really looked and I just got this thought. I was like, okay, well, what really matters? What really matters? And the only thing that matters is like the results. That's it. Like this podcast, it only matters if I record it and publish it. That's it. If I just write about shit and don't do it, then it doesn't matter. Then what? It doesn't like, no one hears it. Nothing's going to happen. You're not going to grow. Nothing works. My kids aren't going to get it. If I don't record it, then nothing happens. With my Trevor Sean project, that one, I've been writing down plans for that for literally like 5 months about like, okay, just record one video a week, one video a week, one video a week. And then I just don't make the plans to do it. And I don't actually do the work because it gets pushed. I don't make it a priority, whatever the case is. And then 5 months later, here we are. And I still haven't published the one video from, that I should have started with 5 months ago. And I should be at video number 20 and I'm not, So I just got so tired of all the plans and the strategies and the wasting time and the excuses, the waiting. It's like no action, just then nothing happens. Just nothing happens. And then you all have all these ideas and all these plans and all this, you know, made up shit that just doesn't. Then what? What do you got? Nothing. You don't have anything. So that's why I wanted to record this. I just had this clarity today, and I actually had this whole podcast laid out in a completely different way. But this hit me today where I was just like, dude, you're just like, you're not talking about anything. I am talking about things, and I think I have been reading, I have been doing the work, and that's fine. That's good stuff. But again, if you can't apply it, then what? Then what? Nothing. You don't get anything. I feel like I had this mindset growing up where you just kind of did the minimum, or maybe even a little bit more than minimum. That's fine. But you have like these finite type boundaries that you look towards, that you're going to, and then when you get there, you're done. I was thinking about today, like working out, and I was like, I got through my goal that I set for myself to do. So I've been starting to do 4 sets, which is difficult. It's really hard for me to do that. I was used to 3, and then I tried to up it to go to 4, right? So, and I was like, okay. And then after I got through this one, I was like, okay, that's great, but like, if that's not getting you the results, like what would it take to do it? Like, would you have to keep doing this exercise like 3 more sets? Could you do it? If that gave you the results, would you be able to do it? And would you? Who knows? I made a decision that I would. So like all these things just kind of hit me today, like a ton of bricks, man. And I was like, man, that is it. That's it. Can't keep talking about ideas and strategies if you're not going to apply it and do it, because then you're just like nothing. You're like a bucket with holes. Can't hold anything. So anyway, that's my rant. Sorry, I was like a little pissed off, but I think it's a good thing. I got really pissed off at myself, and I'm just wasting time, and that's not good. We don't have a lot of time. Time is the greatest asset that any of us will ever have. And planning, preparedness, all that kind of stuff, learning, research, that is so valuable and it's important. But as far as the weight of how much time you should spend doing that versus actually doing something, it's like 10%. You have to go do something. And you can do all that other stuff on the fly as you're learning and growing and moving. You got to move. You got to go. You can't wait anymore. So hopefully this is a call to whoever's listening to go out and do something. You have plenty of ability. There's a couple things that I did that I was really proud of, like this YouTube channel. I remember in the early days, I just did it. I was like really interested in it. I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. And I did it. And I put out a couple videos like pretty consistently and frequently. And it worked. And that's the other thing that's like driving me crazy. It's like I have proof that the content in that scenario worked and people wanted to watch it. And there's plenty of other things that people want to like consume and watch and get information about. And I like doing it, and I just won't do it. It's so crazy. So anyways, I hope you guys, I don't know, I hope you don't relate to this, but if you do, then let's fucking change it, man. Like, I wrote a couple notes. It's like, you take breaks, plan, prepare, pivot, try something new. That's fine, but just do something. Just go do it and then learn and grow and then do the next thing and keep going. I think that's a lot about what Jordan Peterson talks about. It's like, you have to go and do something. You have to put in the time and the work. And then the other thing that I love from The War of Art, Stephen Pressfield just talks about like show up and just show up. And then if you just get there, things will start to happen. Even just the other day, after we put the kids down for bed, sometimes I'm just like, you need a little bit of break or whatever. That's fine. Take a break. But I remember just sitting there and like, how long do you scroll through social media or read things or look at things before you kind of like, oh, okay. I don't know if you ever feel like this, but for me, I was sitting there doing it. I was like, okay, I actually enjoyed it. I had fun. I read a couple inspirational quotes. I'll watch a couple videos, kind of got caught up on the news or whatever. And then after a little while, all of a sudden I just started getting this itch, and I'm just like, oh, you have things you want to do. This is your time to do it, and you're not doing it. And I just got this sick feeling where you're just like, I don't know how to explain it, but you just wanted to go do something. And then instead of like sitting and like trying to distract myself from that feeling that day, I actually got up and I came down and I actually started planning out the other podcast I was gonna do. And then after I got that done, I felt so good. I was like, dude, you did you did one of your projects you want to do. You got it done. That's great. And I felt awesome. And I think that's where it's at, man. That's what we got to try to chase and trust ourselves. Man, it's so funny, but I listened to myself and I went and did what I knew I wanted to do, and I felt good doing it. Fancy that. It's crazy. So, anyways, once you get it in your head and in your soul, just fucking go and do it. Just go do it, because otherwise the time and the opportunity passes, and then all of a sudden it's tomorrow. And then what? Then what? Then it's gone. That day's gone, and you can't get it back ever. So, not to be super depressing with that, but it's true. And I've been reading this a little bit more recently. So obviously I've read the Audible version, and I've been working on getting through this. I'm about halfway now. And if you need some help getting through and doing something to like finish off your projects and actually accomplish things, get that book. It'll help you so much. It's helped me a ton for sure. And even a shorter, quicker read, The War of Art. Those two things, nothing gets me like more jacked up to go do something than those two books. So, and Gary Vaynerchuk, listen to a couple of his podcasts, because he's the same thing. He's like, just go and do something. Just go do something, and then experiment, and then learn and grow and fail, and then go to the next thing. It's all good. So anyway, this is an intro. I'm almost done. Hang on, hang with me. But this is an intro to an experiment I just barely came up with tonight. I changed everything for this segment, and it's called the work experiment. So I'm just tired of talking about shit. I'm gonna go do something. So for the next 7 days, this is what I'm doing. I'm using my own experiment. So my project I really wanted to work on, that I feel really passionate about, is my Trevor Sean channel. So I am going to work on so there's a couple rules. I'm going to work on that project every day for 7 days until I record the next podcast, which will be next Wednesday. I'm like timelining this. I'm going to do it. Or sorry, next Tuesday. So I'm going to work on it every day, and it's going to be a little difficult because I actually am going on a work trip starting on Thursday. Well, I just painted myself into a corner, but that's going to be good. I'm going to work through it. I'm going to make it happen. So a couple rules. You have to work on a project or something. I don't care if it's your day job and you want to work extra hours and you want to try to implement something new, whatever. I don't care if it's like your side hustle or whatever. And you don't even have to do this. I'm just going to experiment with myself. But if you wanted to follow along, the rules are you have to do significant work on a project that you actually want to do. You want to paint your house. You want to design your house. You want to clean your room. You have to closet. You have to sort out and organize. I don't care. Whatever it is. You want to start a business, whatever. I think all those things are great. But you have to do it every day, minimum of 30 minutes. It has to be actual visible work. So you have to start with something and you have to end with something more, right? You have to document and track your experience about it, before, during, after, what you're thinking, if it was hard, if it was difficult, how you felt at the beginning, how you felt at the end of it, and then track your progress made on the project, so on a daily basis, and then obviously kind of round out the experience after the 7 days, and then write a report talking about the experiences, things you learned, the struggles, the successes, what your takeaways are from it, and what your plan is going forward for that project and that goal. If it's worth it, if you want to continue doing it, then what's the next step? And if not, maybe that open up a different path that you want to pursue, and what's that look like, and what are you going to do for that? So it's kind of like not a quick jump start on actually doing something with one of these goals and projects that you want to do. So, and it can be working out, it can be eating, it can be honestly reading, writing, whatever you want to do. But you have to do it. But that's what I'm doing. So I'm taking everything that I've been talking about and I'm going to try to push it all into this side project that I'm doing. And I'm also going to focus on a couple things from my day job too. So I think it's going to be a very healthy exercise all the way around. And I'm really excited to see and share what the results are from doing this. So stay tuned. Really glad you guys tune in. I love that you guys are listening. And again, I really sincerely say this from the bottom of my heart. I hope you're getting some type of valuable information that can help you in some facet in your life. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys have a great week. Let's shred it and do something, and peace out.